Learning how to solve the simultaneous equation. So we are begin with the ones which has got the linear. Both the equations are the linear, the question that we are focusing on in this lesson today. And the method we are using to solve the simultaneous equation is the elimination method. First of all, we're going to see that whether any of the x or the y coefficients are the same. So coefficients are the number which is written in front of the variable. So because x hasn't got any number written in front of it, so I'm going to write it down a number 1 here, and this is a number 1 here as well. It means that this is the case we are doing when the coefficients are the same. We are solving the linear equations with the same coefficients. Okay, it's always easy if the coefficients are the same. Now we see that what do we have is with both the x variable, there is no sign, it means it's a positive and positive. To eliminate the x from here, we take away them together. Here, I'm going to write it down on the side. If we have got same signs, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract. If we would have opposite signs, we're going to add. So remember that the same signs is going to be subtract. Opposite sign is going to be add. How we are using it now, because we know that we have got the same signs, it means we're going to subtract the two equations together. So subtracting the two equations together, I'm going to write down the takeaway sign over here, and then I'll be subtracting the two equations. Now see that x take away x, they will go. The other terms is the y variable, so 3y minus y would be 2y. On the other side, 15 take away 3 would be 12. Because solving the simultaneous equation means we are finding out the x and the y value. So finding x and y value. To find out the y value, we're going to divide by 2 on both the sides. And we're going to get now how many 2 makes 12 would be 6. So we have got the y value. Now what we need to do is we need to find out the x value. Here it is very common that the students do this step. Either they find out the x or the y value and they forget to find out the next value. So remember that we are looking for both x and the y values. To find out the x value now, it's your choice. Either you choose the first equation or the second equation to sub in the y value into it and find out the x value from here. I always chooses the one which looks more simplified to me. So here, this is the first equation and I'm going to highlight it. So this is the first equation we are having, this one, and this we are having the second equation. So it seems to me that the second equation is much simpler. So I'm going to start taking the next equation. So I'm going to write down sub the value y equals to 6 into the second equation. Okay, I'm going to write down the second equation, which is x plus y equals to 3. Because we know that the y value is a 6, I'm going to sub the y value into the equation. So x plus 6 equals 3. To find out what the x value is, you're going to do the inverse of this plus 6, which would be minus 6, and you'll get x equals to minus 3. Once you would have your x and the y value, so we have found the x and the y value, we got the x value is minus 3 and the y value is 6. You can even check your answer. It is not the part of the working out, but always with the simultaneous equation solving with them, there's a way for the checking, and the checking is when you sub in the x and the y value into any of equation, the left hand side and the right hand side must be the same. So again, I'm taking the second equation, which is x plus y equals to 3. So the x value we found is minus 3, the y value is a plus 6. When you simplify them together, you would have 3 and 3 on both left hand side and the right hand side. It means the x and the y values you found out earlier are correct. Let's have a look to the next example now. So again, we're going to check the variables and the coefficients first. So looking to the x variables now, the x variable has a coefficient 4 and 5, which are different. Then we go on to the next variable, which is y. We see that the coefficient of the y, which is 3 and 3, it means the coefficients are the same. So we are solving the linear equations with the same coefficients. We're going to see that they are the opposite sign because with the y variable in the first equation is a negative and the second equation is a positive. So we are having this situation now, which is opposite sign, means we're going to add them together. Now I'll be adding the two equations together. So you do 4x plus 5x would be 9x. Minus 3y plus 3y will cancel each other. 10 plus 14 would be 24. Now you're going to find out what's the x value from here would be 24 over 9 because you divide by 9 on both the sides. Now you see the numbers 9 and 24. Are you able to simplify them? Yes, they both goes in a 3 times table. To simplify them more, how many 3 makes 24 would be 8 and how many 3 makes 9 is a 3. So we get the x value, which is 8 over 3. Now to find out the y value, we repeat the same process, that using this x value and sub in any of the equation. Now I have a choice to use the first equation or the second equation. Because I'm finding out the y value now, I see that which equation has got the y positive. So the first equation has got the y negative, the next equation has got the y positive. So this is the equation number 1, this is the equation number 2. It's ideally to use it's easy, it's to do with the less working out if you choose the one which has the positive sign. But either way you would have the same answer. So here I'm taking the equation number 2 and I'm subbing the value, x value into it. So that's 5x plus 3y equals 14. I'm going to sub in the x value in here, so that would be 5. Whenever I sub in any value, it goes in a bracket, so it would be 8 over 3 plus 3y equals to 14. You're going to expand out the bracket, so 8 times 5 is a 40. You'll get 40 over 3 plus 3y equals 14. Now what you do, the next step is you rearrange in such a way that you find out the value of y. So you take this plus 40 over 3 on the other side. So it would be 3y equals, there's a 14 already there, and that would be 40 over 3. Now we have got on the right hand side is the two fractions, and we need to simplify the fractions. So if there's nothing in the denominator is a 1. To make the denominators the same, you times by 3 and times by 3. So you would have 3y equals 14 times 3, you can do even on the side, which is 12 and 42. So that would be 42 minus 40 is the numerator and the denominator is 3. The next step of the simplification would be, because you do 42 minus 40 would be 2/3. Now you're still finding out the y value from here, so you get rid of this 3 from here, so you divide by 3 on both the sides. So to divide by 3 on both the sides, you would have 2 over 9, because here 3 times 3 makes a 9. So we have got the x and the y values. You can write them down together in a bracket form as well. So you write down here that x and y which you're looking for is 8 over 3 and 2 over 9. We are getting both x and the y values in the fraction form. Here we have got the next example now. So I'm going to again start with the variables to check the coefficients of the variable. So with the first one, I see that the x coefficient is 1. With the next equation, the x coefficient is 4. So it means we have got the different x coefficients. To look for the coefficients of y, which is 5 and 1, it means that they are different as well. So now we are focusing on those, solving the linear equations with the different coefficients. Whenever we have got the different coefficients, we have to do additional one step where we have to make either the x or the y coefficient the same, whichever one is easier for you to make. To solve this one, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the second equation by 5. So here's my first equation, here's my second equation. I'm keeping my first equation the same, which is x plus 5y equals to 22. Now to make the y variables the same, you multiply by 5 on both the sides. Remember that you have to times by 5 with the whole equation, it means on both the sides. When you multiply by the 5 on the right hand side, it would be 4 times 5 is a 20. When you multiply by 5 on the left hand side, it would be 5, it would be in a bracket. So 5 times 4 would be a 20x minus 5y. Now here we see that the y variables are the same. And now I'm going to write it down that opposite sign means will add. So now we are adding the two equations together. So x plus 20x would be 21x. If you do 5y minus 5y, them two would cancel. On the other side, 20 plus 22 would be 42. Now to find out the x value, you divide by 21 on both the sides. So you would get x equals to 2 from here. Once you would have your x value, now you use any of the equation to find out the y value. But as I said that, choose the equation where the y is positive. So if I look to both the equation, the first equation has got the y positive, where the second equation has got the y negative. So I'm using the first equation to find out the y value. I'm going to say that sub x equals to 2 into the equation number 1. So when you sub in x equals to 2 into equation number 1, I'm going to write down the equation number 1 now, which is x plus 5y equals to 22. Because the x is 2, so you write down 2 plus 5y equals to 22. You minus 2 on both the sides, so you would have 5y equals 20. To find out what the y value is, you divide by 5 on both the sides. And how many 5 makes 20 would be 4. Again, my last step is always to write down the values together. So we find out the x and the y value, which is 2 and 4. You can even do the checking step which I've showed you right in the first example, that to sub in the x and the y value to any of the equation, and you must get the left hand side and the right hand side would be the same. Here we have got a slight tricky question, because now the x variable has got the negative sign in front of it, but it's not going to change anything. You choose this now, because I see that the x variables are different and the y variables are the different. So we are solving the linear equation with the different coefficients. Now, because the coefficients are different, you see that which coefficient you want to make the same. You want to make the x coefficient the same or the y coefficients the same. It's up to you how you want to do it. What I am doing here is I'm multiplying the second equation by 2. So I'm keeping the first equation the same. I'm multiplying my second equation by 2. So I'm going to do it on both the sides. So to do that now, what I'm going to do is, because I'm keeping the first equation the same, which is minus 3x plus 4y equals to 11, the second equation would be when I multiply by 2 on both the sides. Remember to put the bracket so you don't forget to multiply by 2 with both the terms. So it would be 2x minus, here's a 4y, equals minus 10. Now we see that we have got the opposite signs, and opposite sign means to add. I'm going to write it down on the side that the opposite sign is going to be add. So we're adding the two equations together. I put a big positive sign so I would remember that I'm adding the two equations. When you do minus 3x plus 2x, you would get just minus x. Then plus 4y minus 4y would cancel each other. And on the other side, when you do 11 minus 10 would be just a 1. Now, because we are not looking for the value minus x, but we are looking for the value just x, so it means we need to get rid of this negative sign from here. So taking the negative sign on the other side would be the x value would be minus 1. Once you would have your x value, now you use this x value to use in any of the equation to find out the y value. Again, I'm looking at which equation has got the y positive. So it is the equation number 1. I'm going to write down sub x equals to minus 1 into the equation number 1. I'm going to write down what equation number 1 is, which is minus 3x plus 4y equals 11. You write down the value of x. I always write it down in a bracket, so to avoid any type of the sign mistake. Then plus 4y equals to 11. So negative makes a positive. So 3 plus 4y equals to 11. To find the value of y, you do the inverse of 3, which would be minus 3 on both the sides, and you'll get 4y equals to 8. Then you divide by 4 on both the sides, and you'll get y equals 2. So here we have found out the value of x and y. I'm going to write down my final step where I'm going to say that x and y values would be minus 1 and 2. Now here we have got the last example on solving the linear simultaneous equations, and this is exam style question. So first I'm going to decide that either I'm making the x variables the same or the y variables are the same. So now this time I'm going to make the x variables the same. So to make the x variable the same, you're going to multiply your second equation by 2. So you multiply the second equation by 2 means you multiply by 2 of the second equation on both the sides. Keeping the first equation the same would be 4x plus 3y equals to 5. Multiplying the second equation by 2 would be 4x plus 2y equals 6. Don't forget to multiply on both the sides because that's what the common mistake what the students do in the exam. Now we see that because we have got the x variables are the same, both of them has got the positive sign. So we know that the same sign means you subtract. Now we'll be subtracting both the equations. So I'm going to put a big negative sign over here. So I would remember that I'm subtracting both the equations. So 4x minus 4x will go. 3y minus 2y would be just y. Where 5 take away 6 would be a minus 1. We got the y value from here, which is minus 1. Now to sub in, now you have a choice, because if you look to both the equation has got the x value positive. You take any of them and you would have the same answer. So I'm choosing the equation number 1. So equation number 1 is 4x plus 3y equals to 5. Now you're going to sub in the y value into it. So 4x remains the same plus 3 times by minus 1, and there's a 5 here. You're going to do more simplification to expand the bracket. So positive and negatives makes a negative, and 3 times 1 is a 3. So we'll be having this. The inverse of the minus 3 is a plus 3 on both the sides, and you'll get 4x equals to 8. You divide by 4 on both the sides, and you'll get x equals to 2. We have found the x and the y values. Now we're going to just write them together. So I'm going to write down x and y values are 2 and minus 1. So we have done in this video different questions on how to solve the linear equation simultaneously by using the elimination method. And if you have found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Bye bye. Thank you.